Indiana Dunes Tourism, located between Chicago and South Bend in northwest Indiana, is a proud supporter of Irish Illustrated. Extend your Notre Dame visit with a trip to the nation's newest national park. Visit indianadunes.com.
Tim Priester with Tom Loy. It's signing day here at Notre Dame. We just had an opportunity to speak with Brian Kelly and Brian Polian, the recruiting coordinator. Notre Dame signed 17 with the hope of an 18th today, Ramon Henderson. Tom, I thought it was interesting, a couple topics that came up. Number one, the early entries. Brian Kelly said 9. Not sure if that number is exactly right. There's 7 that have signed, right?
Yeah.
If you include Isaiah Pryor, that's 8.
Right. Well, yeah, and then one more would be Ramon Henderson. So, I mean, really, we got Jordan Botello, Jay Brunell, Alexander Ahrensberger, Riley Mills, Caleb Offord, Drew Pine, Xavier Watts, and they're waiting for Ramon Henderson. He could be adding Isaiah Pryor, which is all weird in its own right. But, yeah, I mean, it's a good group. It's a great opportunity for Notre Dame and the kids to get all these guys in here early. They're only going to benefit from it. There's no negative to it. They put in the work to get him. It was funny, Kelly thought Chris Tyree was one of them. I mean, I think everybody would love to see Chris Tyree as one of them, including Lance Taylor. I think I would as well. But overall, I think it's a great group, especially a guy like Ahrensberger who could use the work. He's already got the size. And then, you get an early glimpse about Drew Pine, things like that. So
the number of early entries continues to expand. It's all good. I mean, it's something that really benefits the Notre Dame program, everybody's program. I thought it was interesting. I got shot down with most of the questions I asked today, but in trying to find out which was the toughest sell for them, and he mentioned Chris Tyree, and especially when Chip Long leaves the fold, you have to re-recruit him a little bit. But he was pretty well locked in the whole time, regardless. I just thought it was interesting that Chris Tyree, one of the most exciting players in this class, was the toughest sell, and it was a sell that he bought into.
I don't think people realize how close Chris Tyree, and this was before all this happened, was actually going to go to Oklahoma. I mean, it was done. He told Oklahoma he was coming. He actually told Lance Taylor, I think I'm going to go to Oklahoma. And that's when Taylor and Chip Long really went in there and really dug their heels in and got it done early in the process. And then he was rock solid throughout. But it was that relationship with Chip Long that we had reiterated and talked about at Irish Illustrated. They were real close. I mean, it was not an easy thing for him to just, see his guy that was recruiting for so long leave. So he was excited about being able to run the ball, catch the ball, all that kind of stuff under Long. But the biggest thing that they did after he left was Kelly made it clear nothing's going to change. I don't care who's going to come in, whether it's Reese or an outside hire or Lance Taylor, you're going to get a ton of touches, a ton of opportunities. Lance Taylor reiterated that. Tommy Reese, in their conversations, reiterated that. So nothing's going to change. I expect him to get a ton of touches. He's my guy, my pick for freshman of the year because I think he's going to, get a ton of opportunities and he'll take advantage of them. But, losing Chip for him and Xavier Watts was a tough blow, and Michael Mayer. But great job by the staff and Brian Kelly for the recruiting chops for getting it done.
Chris Tyree on the field immediately as a freshman is a must, I would think, for most Notre Dame fans. Another topic conversation today, both Brian Polian and Brian Kelly mentioned is length, and that's a big part of it. Brian Polian said the power of length was exemplified by what Kyle Hamilton did. He referenced Isaiah Foskey and what he brought and what he will bring to the future, also going back to Mike McGlinchey. But the length of the defensive backs, Brian Polian spoke with great confidence with the 3 that have signed, and again, Ramon Henderson could be the 4th. Me personally watching it, I'm not as confident about those defensive backs, but it makes me a lot more confident to hear Brian Polian speak of them in that manner.
In talking to the people that I've talked to over the last couple of months and even before that, these guys went crazy all over the country, all over the board. There wasn't a film they didn't watch. Brian Polian, Clark Lee, Terry Joseph, Todd Light, they all did all they could to find elite athletes with length that can project or play a little bit defensive back right now, but could project as a really good corner down the road. I think I'm a little more optimistic than you are. Maybe that's just my shtick at Irish Illustrated, but I really do like what they did. I like Landon Bartleson. I think he can run. He's got verified times. He's a big-bodied kid. Clarence Lewis is really intriguing. He's 6 foot even, but he just can leap out the building, and he shows that on the offensive side of the ball. Caleb Offord was just okay from what I was told at the Alabama-Mississippi game. But again, Barton Simmons told me he loved his length. He looks great on the hoof, so that's an exciting thing. But the guy I'm really excited about above all of them is Ramon Henderson. I think he's a guy they really need to land. It's weird that while we're recording this, Utah has some reasons for optimism. I think a crystal ball, even a pick went in for Utah at this point, but I don't see it. I fully expect him to land at Notre Dame, and I love his senior tape. He's a terrific wide receiver, but he looks so smooth in the secondary. I think it's going to be a really easy transition. I think he's going to be a playmaker on that side of the ball down the road.
We're just talking about a lot of three-star guys for whatever that's worth, and Tim O'Malley had a stat today about the percentage of three-star DBs that work out in Notre Dame, and it's a low number. I like them too. Maybe not as much as when I originally saw their film, but I do think there's a lot of ability there. We're going to wrap up with that. Notre Dame signed 17 with a hope of number 18 coming this afternoon.